Hello, hello. Today is April 7th, 2025. And welcome back to another market recap. So today I had one trade. I guess to real recap last week real quick. I ended up not taking any trades on Friday. I spent most of the day kind of watching markets, but I didn't really find a setup I would entertain taking until late in the day. I would say there's probably 2 hours left of the session. I mean, like 2 hours until they close markets. So it's pretty late. And at that point, I wasn't really willing to risk the good week I'd had. I mean, I was sitting at 3.39R for the week last week. And I didn't want to possibly try and push one more trade and it end up being a loss and then having a good week go to being like an okay week. So that trade I was watching ended up playing out for 2 hours or so. So it would have been a benefit, but I've also been on the other side of that too, where you have that feeling of, hey, I had a great week, but now I kind of just shot myself in the foot a little bit. So all in all, just decided to stay out. Today, took one trade, which is pound dollar early in the day. It was probably the second hour or so of the session. If we jump back over here. It's a quick trade. It's like less than 10 minutes, I want to say. It's here. So there's really not much to say about management on this because it pretty much triggered me in and then triggered me out. But this is the kind of risk with the entry style that I'm currently using with limit orders. I'm just setting an order, and if it triggers me in, great. Granted, I'm usually setting these at a good value, what I believe to be a good value. I mean, it's usually just 0.382. In this case, it was 0.5 fib. And it spiked up for a split second, but it didn't close above the 30-second 50 EMA. So I didn't have an opportunity to execute P1 per my management style. So at this point, I'm kind of just still at full risk. And straight to the stop. So this was an IBO. So I mean, you essentially a deceleration, break of a trend, push upwards, higher high, and I'm trading this higher low formation. So I'm looking to basically take price back up to the EMAs. Granted, typically when I'm taking a trading an IBO, I would like price to kind of stop about halfway, then come retest and form that lower high, and then push up to the EMAs. I don't love taking IBOs after they've already kind of rejected, or really any trade, after it's already rejected my target area. I would prefer to get into the trade prior to it getting to that point. Now, these trades can still play out. And I think this same trade occurred later in the day, like 5-6 hours later in the day. And we'll look at it after this. It's still a good trade, still a trade, still fits my strategies. I don't necessarily write it off because it touched the EMAs, but it's just kind of a negative confluence factor for the trade. But I was still willing to trade through it. I liked everything else. Didn't really have much from a 4-hour perspective, but hindsight looking at it now, essentially it was just kind of a pullback, retest, a continuation lower on this 10-minute. And at the time when I entered on my 1-hour chart, I had some deceleration, I had a low test, this doji, and that's what I was pushing, but just didn't work out. It happens. I typically don't like to end the day on a loss. Usually keep pushing trades if they're available, taking 2 to 3 in a day at max. But I didn't really find a whole lot to take today, besides a euro pound trade, which we'll get into here in a minute. So the same trade. So I took this trade here, pound dollar. The same trade occurred a little lower in the day. So this was at like 8 o'clock my time. This trade happened roughly 1 o'clock my time. Same exact trade. I typically do not like to trade the same pair twice in a day or trade the same idea twice on the same pair in a day. I feel like it can lead to emotional trading because you can like just start revenge trading on the same pair, trying to get where you're trying to get. So I typically will not trade it again. And that's kind of where I landed on this. I thought about it for a little while and then saw it kind of shaping up. Again, I wanted it to stop about halfway up here and then come back down for a retest. And then I probably would have taken this trade. But after it came all the way back up, it again retested this 200 2-minute EMA or the 50 10-minute EMA. It is the exact same trade that I traded at 5 or so hours earlier. So it sketched me out a little bit. Now, when it came to the trade, it technically gave a live entry. The trade I took back there never gave a live entry. The only way you really could be triggered into it is with the limit order, like the entry style I was using. Now, you could have taken a limit order on this one and it played out, but also it did give this pretty nice, break of a trend live entry on the 5-second. So, but per my management style, I would have been out of this trade for roughly 0.3 R-ish, a little bit more or so, between 0.3, 0.4 R, if I would have taken it. So I still would have been at a loss for the day, but same kind of concept. This one pushed right to about 1 R. I think you can see it if I change this. So it pushed right to the 1 R realm. It didn't do a whole bunch here to give me the ability to like clip a low and lock in one or anything. It kind of just tapped one and went down. And this is my most aggressive time management time frame is a 5-second, and it's not really giving me much here. By the time it starts breaking down on that 5 seconds, it's below 1 R. And I really don't want to close a trade unless it's above 1 R. Unless it's some kind of true management. I'm able to do P1, P2, P3 or something like that, right? So, but this trade would have been like sitting at pretty much P2, it would have been sitting at break even. And the only other management I have is to implement a fail safe, which is if price closes below the 30-second 50, then I would manually close the position and just take what I can get at that point. And that would have been roughly about a little over 0.3 R or so if this position was managed correctly. That's all I would have really been able to squeeze out of it. So this one wouldn't have played out for the 2 R either. And then if you get out of the replay and ended up just continuing to crash just like the trade earlier did. So besides that, I was watching this Euro pound trade for a little while. It wasn't right here, actually. It was up here. And if we, again, go back in time here, the trade, move this, extend this so you can see it, was very quick. And I honestly wasn't completely paying attention, and it would have been a 4 pip. This is the smallest position size I can possibly trade. But this pair had been running like on a daily time frame. You can see it. It's just pushing. It's getting to the point where it's super overextended. And I'm still watching this right now. I'll be watching this tonight to see if it breaks down, or maybe it forms like a triple top and can consider an ABO style trade. But at the time, I was, anticipating this to break down, give an IBO on this 10-minute time frame, which is, a CBO on this 2-minute time frame, and had price action form essentially this very tight, but it's there, head and shoulders pattern, right? Breaks a trend, lower low, formation lower high, The micro time frames, very quick entry, go short. And this trade would have been, well, heck, I don't even know. It's hard to say with this spike right here what would have happened. Because 2R would have been locked in once it's down there. Let's see where 2R is. It should be 80. So yeah, it'd be fine. So we'd have 2R locked, be chilling, price would be going down, 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 and then right on the break here is where it would have been exited for roughly about 3.1 or so. So a super fast trade, but it was there. And I have taken these before. And looking back on it and thinking back on it, I had spent, an hour, 2 hours watching price just push on this. And I saw it start to break down right here. At the same time I was watching this, I was watching that pound dollar we were talking about and entering the pound dollar. It had a better kind of like breakdown, had a better push past the EMAs. If this would have pushed about to the halfway point and then given me a pullback, it would have been the trade that I would have taken 100%. And it would have been a great trade at that point. It had the 1 hour, everything basically lines up. The only thing that sketched me out was this super tight pullback. And with the tariff stuff and the news that we've had these past, few days, volatility is super high. So price is kind of spiky. And prior to all the tariff stuff, like most of my position sizing was 4 to 8 pips or so, like 4 to 10 on average. But post all this tariff stuff, like my pip sizes have been what my day trades used to be. I mean, I've had some that are 30, 40 pips for a 2-minute run, micro trade, which is kind of crazy. It's great for commissions wise because I'm having to pay a lot of commissions because when I take these really tight pip positions, the commissions are kind of brutal on them. But this is the other main trade that I logged as a mistrade. It was an opportunity that I didn't execute on today that would have put me in the green. I mean, hell, it would have put me at, a little over 2R for the day. Well on to my weekly goal. But I just wish it had a little bit better of a breakdown first. So either way, that is my Monday. Still have a number of days to clear some of this out and get in some profit. So let's swap over. As far as my watch list went, we had been talking about the knock stuff last week, and then Friday it just exploded. And so what I'd been waiting for to happen happened on all the knock pairs. The main knock pair, though, that I trade is obviously dollar knock, just for the spreads are better and whatnot. But I had this on watch at the beginning of yesterday. It would have been a solid CBO. It would have been a little sketchy considering it already kind of like hit the daily 54-hour 200, but it's still a solid trade. And given the fact that I've been watching this trade for a couple weeks, really, kind of sucks not being able to get into it at all or finding a way to capture any of this kind of movement here. So like a micro time, I don't know. I've looked at this a few times. I haven't really found a way I would have been able to capture it. I was really hoping for a pullback, but sometimes with these really good setups, they just don't pull back. They just run. So unless you catch the ABO, you kind of miss the movement. So right now, I'm basically now watching this 4-hour time frame on these knock pairs, trying to see if I can catch like the wave 2 pullback play, essentially, which because it's so overextended is pretty much going to be like an IBO on this 4-hour layout. But I'm just at this point waiting for this to break down. But Knox looks super nice. That I had that on watch yesterday. It didn't pull back, obviously, so no trade. I did have this on watch. I set my alerts at 0.382, and I set my I was originally position sized, at 0.382. So you can see that it pretty much just missed my alerts, being a trigger here as well as here and here. So I wasn't able to get into this trade because I didn't know about it. But it was a valid trade. It's on the similar concept to the dollar NOx stuff, just a little not as clean price action, but still good price action. CBO, it gave a 5-second kind of entry right here if you want to be super aggressive. It's about the only way you've been able to get into this trade, or another one right here, right? But there is a valid entry, and it's a live entry. Limit order wouldn't have triggered on this just due to the fact it never pulled back to 0.382. And played out. So I didn't really go through and manage this thing, but I imagine this would have just tapped one. So you wouldn't be able to do much here, but you'd probably be break even. So if you're break even, you got closed here for nothing. If you entered here, however, then you're kind of just chilling. Price pushes. Honestly, on this kind of breakdown here, you might exit. I doubt the full 2 would have been captured unless you just had no management. With management, it's probably about 1.5 or so. But it was a trade last night. It was probably the only thing from my daily stuff that gave an entry. I really only had this dollar NOC and dollar PLN on watch. These other pairs I was watching on like micro time frames for some reversals of some sort, which they ended up occurring, but not as I was anticipating. So either way, let's clear some of the stuff out and go build a watch list for tonight. A price action this morning for the first, honestly, all morning until noon was whipsawy, I guess would be the term I would describe it as. It's like the market couldn't decide which way it wanted to go. But then also it's like news came out at one point that caused everything to spike, and then that news ended up being false, and so everything came back down. Like, it's a ton of emotional trading going on in the market right now just because everything is kind of crazy with the tariff stuff. Cool. Let's clear this out. See if we can't find something here. All this. That was weird. Oh, I need a replay. Some of the price action on a lot of stuff from like daily perspective is still kind of weird. This is another trade that pound dollar again. So I took this as a micro time frame trade. Long, but there was a day trade that did work out on this, but you would only have been able to enter it either by chopping your stop and entering this thing live, like, down here. I mean, it would have played out like if you would have entered like something like that would have worked. But I'm not super happy about the stop placement at the time of entry. So, but kind of IBO-esque. Still waiting on some of these. Yens might have something. Might be something. Might be something. Pretty sure we short yen or long yen bias here. It's like we're short yen. Okay, so that fits. There are some number of trades like this stuff just needs a little bit more development, you know, like euro pound over here. Like you could, there's not really a trade right now on this. Like there might be in some micro time frames, but as far as this daily setup, like we're still waiting for a breakdown. Still need some more. Same thing with like pound Swiss. Like it has some nice price action if price will break up and give us, you know, start changing trend on us, give us an IBO or whatnot. Mexican. Let's go delete all our alerts before I forget. It's gonna be a 4-hour. SAR's been on a tear too. Interesting to see if price kind of decelerates at this level. It's at the long-term level, if I remember correctly. That's why it's kind of drawn in here. It's kind of the previous highs, all-time highs. So let's see what price does. This CAD knock, like we're talking about, kind of just exploded. CAD knock didn't really give a way to get into the trade either. But massive trade. I mean, this position sizing, it's a, 10 to 1, 12 to 1 trade. Aussie knock. Now, if all the other knocks had already done their thing, I'll still flag this. So technically still has like decent price action here. Possibly. But I don't, it's just all this crap right here. It doesn't look great. I don't know. Technically, I think there's an Aussie long bias right now. Which might help this trade play out. But the spread's kind of weird. I don't know. I'll watch it, but probably more than likely won't take it. Knock Swiss. So far, really all I've got is those yen trades. Looks like. When all this stuff starts to actually break down and give entries, that day is going to be crazy. I mean, there is going to be trades everywhere. Hong Kong yen. I'll flag this. I don't think I can trade Hong Kong pairs due to leverage, but I'll double check. I'd like to keep watching that one. And then, yeah, mainly yens on watch tonight. Still watching. Get rid of that. What was this up here for? I don't remember. All right, let's put these down here. Let's get all these yens in there. And then we have a random Euro CAD and this random Aussie NOK. I'll put this other NOK with it just because I'm watching it. Which one of these is best? I was watching towards the end of the day, I was watching dollar yen for a pullback play. I position size this just to kind of see what it would look like. This isn't typically something I trade, but I've started to notice this happening where price will like be in this upwards triangle. It'll give like a double or a triple top. It'll somewhat break out, but not completely, but then just kind of chill, and then come up, retest, and then go short. And usually the trade plays out. At least that's what I've noticed the past few times. So I kind of just position size this one the same. I'm not ready to put my own capital towards that kind of theory yet, but just something I'm watching right now, kind of studying. So this trade was positioned for 4-1 at the time, pretty much down to these previous highs and the 4-hour 10-minute 50. Essentially would have been on a daily time frame. It's like playing the wave 2 pullback here. So just a little tighter, treating it as an IBO. So, or I mean, not an IBO, but an ABO in a way. But in a way, it's also kind of an IBO. Like it's breaking a pattern, coming back for a retest, and then going short. It's just not like it'd be an IBO if it broke here and then came up and then went short, which essentially it's what it's doing. It's just really shallow. So it's fascinating, but similar concept to an IBO. So something I'm just paying attention to. I don't love these yen pairs, but it's really about all there is. It still needs to break out. Don't like how it's already at that EMA, so it's something we would have to trade through. What's this level like? Respected here, respected there. respect it anywhere else. Just don't really know. Either way, we're the third day into this pull black. I mean, it's an option. It's not preferable. Like, really, I'd want the EMAs to be in line with R1 up here in a perfect world. As well as, you know, like, say price just continued, and then this break also is breaking trend on the 4-hour time frame. But right now, it's kind of just pulling back on the 4-hour time frame, so it feels a bit trappy. So it's just like which bias plays out. Is it going to be the 1 hour or the 4 hour, right? Does price just continue short from here? Or is this a true trend change? This is a higher low and then price goes through this level, essentially. But if you need a trade, it is a trade. Position size it pretty easily. Something like that. At least if it does retrace and pushes back up and retests this EMA again, you're out for maybe one. This price action just so it's quite ugly. This is pretty much the same thing as dollar yen. I don't think they look any different. Yeah. I never realized that Hong Kong yen is quite literally the same price action as dollar yen. Wow. All right, well, there's no point looking at that. Now, I technically kind of like this price action a little bit more, right? Like the 4-hour 50, 200, it still has a way to go until you hit it. The only problem is it hasn't really quite like broke trend. Like I'd prefer price to push roughly to this middle point and then come down for retest and then go back up. So let's see if we have something here though. We do technically have tweezers on a daily time frame. So we have a good reversal pattern. So I would say we have the DDP. MACD wise, it's kind of just in line with price action, so no real divergence or anything, I would say. We just hit a level that it's respected in the past, at least right here and right here mainly. Have an intraday level here, it looks like. About there. See it on this 10-minute. Problem is, this price is also just kind of pushed up to this level. So in a way, you kind of be playing the break of that. I don't think there's really a... Maybe you can draw that line in there. What if you come in here, draw it from this low up? I don't know what that spike was. I don't know if we respect the spike or if we respect the high. Let's just say the spike for giggles here. Really hard to position size this correctly. But you can go 2 to the main target pretty easily. The problem is I want a 1 to these 1 hour open and close prices. And I would like my stop below 0.618. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be doable in this case. You have to run a tighter stop. Which I mean is manageable. Maybe. It's an option. It may or may not work out. I don't know. It's tough, but as far as everything I've got, it's really all I've got tonight. As far as these yens go, I would say I prefer dollar yen over CAD yen. Maybe. I just wish they weren't sitting at these EMAs. It's my problem with them. So I think they have the potential to work out, but I also feel like they could fail. So either way, I would say if I had to pick 2 favorites right now, it'd be Singapore and dollar. And then I kind of watch those 2, see what happens. Euro CAD. Mainly looking at that kind of pattern. Something like that. What's this? You have like 3 tweezers over here. You have a level that's been kind of respected in the past fairly decently. See it more so on this 1 hour. Kind of here, here, here. Almost kind of here, here. So there's a potential to now come back and retest that. Broke this weird price action we got here though. It's an option. I don't think it's primary worthy, but as far as everything that we've sifted through today, it's what we got. So, and I don't know how I feel about entering a long knock trade when I want to short it. So I essentially want to play knock strength here on this pullback, which would go counter to playing this trade, right? This would be playing knock weakness. So one of these trades plays out. Question's which. And if the knock bias plays out on dollar knock, is the Aussie bias stronger? So I think the spread may be okay once Asia really kicks in to trade this. Technically, it can have an entry soon. Tighten it up something like that. Ish. I don't know. It's not very clean. It's like very choppy price action, but this has been the price action of the past few days. It's been, very up and down, up and down, up and down. On some pairs, not everything. Like this is pretty clean. Anyway, we'll set an alert here. Set alert on Singapore here. Set an alert on EuroCAD. And see what happens. So But that's all I got. I will catch you guys tomorrow. See you.